for yielding the floor to me. My name is Nnenna Elendu, Ukeje, member representing Bende Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm from Abia State. Let me thank the movers of this motion, the two people who have spoken before me, on their industry and the sheer eloquence that they bring to bear on this matter. Mr. Speaker, sir, let me also commend you in your opening remarks, that your opening remarks bore, or to a large extent, the economy of our country. This is indicative of the fact that as a House of the People, we recognize that the most important thing, the greatest thing that has faced our country, misfortune that has faced our country in recent times, is the declaration that our country is in recession. Mr. Speaker, sir, this announcement has created fear, it has created hunger, and it has created anger amongst the Nigerian people. Mr. Speaker, listening to the people who have spoken before me, it is very evident that there seems to be a lack of coordination between our economic, our fiscal, and our planning policies. The people who are in the management of these issues seem to speak in discordant tones. Even today, the headlines, screaming headlines in the Vanguard newspaper stated that the CBN is in disagreement with the Ministry of Finance on the way forward. RAMFAC does not agree that we need to divest our infrastructure. They do not believe that we need to come to some agreement. Mr. Speaker, there's so many people speaking in discordant tones, from the economic group that is led by the Vice President, to the Ministry of Finance, to the Minister of Finance, Mr. Speaker, sir, even to the DG Budget Office and the man in charge of debts. Mr. Speaker, let me quote His Royal Highness, the Emir of Kano, Sanusi Lamido Sanusi, who said that economics is a science. That it may not be a perfect science, but it is a science regardless. That states that if you put X amount into a thing, you can project that these are the outcomes. So when I listen to the people who are in charge of our economic policy speaking in generic terms, they're not granular. They're not telling us that they have short-term plans. They're not telling us the outcomes of the short-term plans. They're not telling us the outcomes of the middle-term plans. They're not telling us the benefits of any long-term plans, if any. Mr. Speaker, there is absolutely no synergy. And like my colleague said, it is this total lack of synergy that has created the fear amongst the population in Nigeria. We sit down as a parliament. It is my belief that in creating the policies, the economic policies of our country, that the executive arm of government has to be in the driver's seat. They have to give us the direction so that we as a parliament can come up with the legislations that are required. Mr. Speaker, in 2008 in the United States, when President Barack Obama took over, the United States was in a recession. They came up with policies, and then they came up with something called the American Reinvestment Law. Now, that American Reinvestment Law saw that 2 million jobs were created in the first year. They said to them, if you invest $750 billion in this economy, in 1 year, we would have created 2 million jobs. And Mr. Speaker, sir, after that, the first initial tranche of 2 million jobs, they have created jobs at 7% because, in the words of His Royal Highness, it is a science. Mr. Speaker, I do not see a scientific approach to getting us out of this recession. I do not see them speaking to figures. I do not see them speaking to numbers. I do not see them speaking to anything. So as a parliament, Mr. Speaker, sir, what I would like to say, as my brother Honorable Toby has said and Honorable Kazim has said, Mr. Speaker, is a roadmap, a clear-cut roadmap that says to us that if we put these policies in place, bearing in mind that, that economics is a science, that these are the retrievables we're going to receive, I do not see that happening. Mr. Speaker, sir, I, like other Nigerians, am terrified because I do not believe that there is any real plan. So, in conclusion, Mr. Speaker, sir, what would I like to see? I mean, we're in a country where we have different exchange rates. We're in a country where we have no clear-cut infrastructural direction. We're in a country where we do not have any clear-cut plans on job creation, but these things are mouthed on a daily basis. So, Mr. Speaker, what I would like is for everybody, the economic teams, the experts, all of them to come together and come up with a proper policy direction, so that we as Parliament, because we have consistently asked them, even during the sectoral debates, what is the policy direction? To which, Mr. Speaker, sir, I have never gotten an answer that I have been happy with. So I would like to see a clear-cut policy direction that helps us as a Parliament to come up with the necessary legislations that will reflate our economy, that will actually jumpstart our economy, with us knowing that this is what is the expected outcome, so that we can carry out our oversight when we do not get to what it is they tell us. They should be granular about it, Mr. Speaker, sir. I so submit. Thank you.